Although several audio formats exist for encoding of sound file data, only a few have been universally adopted by the industry. By far, the most common audio type is the WAV format. WAV is an audio format standard developed by the Microsoft and IBM, mainly used in Windows machine for uncompressed audio. It contains pulse code modulation audio, which is the standard in medium-like computers and compact discs. Similar to WAV, AIFF is also uncompressed audio format, but the AIFF standard is created by Apple. In the last video, we've mentioned that the file size of uncompressed audio is large. In order to reserve storage space and to facilitate faster delivery of audio through the internet, compressed audio formats are used. MPEG stands for Moving Picture Experts Group. MP3 is a standardized compressed audio format for transmission over the web. The algorithm makes use of a limitation of human hearing called masking. Masking occurs when the perception of one sound is affected by the presence of another sound. For example, in a lecture, if the students are talking among themselves, the voice of a lecturer is masked by the chit-chatting of the students. Taking advantage of this human hearing limitation, the MP3 coding removes audio components that are masked and compress audio into 1/10 of the original uncompressed size. Ogg Vorbit has becoming more popular over the past decade. Like MP3, Ogg is also a compressed audio format. But unlike MP3, Ogg is a patent-free standard. The softwares that you use to record or play MP3 files, such as iTunes, QuickTime, they have to pay a patent fee, that is to pay for the right to use the MP3 format. If you are a software developer offering freeware for people to use and download, you will most likely use the Ogg format, because your software is not generating profit to pay for the MP3 patent. Therefore, a lot of open source softwares use Ogg instead of MP3. This is a typical setup of a home studio. Let's start from the very beginning of the signal flow, the microphone. Microphones are transducers. That is something that changes one form of energy into another form of energy. A microphone changes acoustic energy, the sound wave, into mechanical energy when microphone diaphragm is moved by the sound wave, and eventually into electrical energy, while the coil attached to the diaphragm is moved across a magnetic wave. We'll talk more about mechanisms of different types of microphone next week. Microphone turns the sound wave into voltage changes, which is continuous, analog. It is connected to the input of the audio interface. The audio interface then digitizes the analog voltage and turns that into a series of numbers so that the computer can understand and store. The audio interface connects to the computer usually via a USB cable. If you're using an old interface on a Mac computer, sometimes it's connected by a FireWire cable. Because FireWire has a faster connection speed than USB 2, but USB 3 is much faster than FireWire. Therefore, Type-C is more commonly used recently. You edit and store digital audio data on your computer. When you want to listen to it, it needs to be converted into analog voltage so that it can be played on a speaker. You might wonder why you need an audio interface instead of using just a headphone with a 3.5 connector to listen to audio on your laptop. Yes, there is an audio interface on every laptop. That is the sound card. A sound card is an internal audio interface that comes with every laptop. All sound is edited and stored on your laptop digitally, but the sound card converted everything back to analog before it reaches the 3.5 connector. But we usually use an external audio interface for recording instead of using the internal sound card, because noises will probably introduce into the signal flow path when the sound card is so close to the other components of the computer. And also, people have different preference on audio interfaces because the interfaces use different algorithms to digitize analog signal. Other features such as number of inputs and outputs, the size of the interface, or what kind of mic preamp is used affects the preference of audio interfaces. This is the Focusrite Scarlett 2i4 interface. 2i means two inputs. There are two inputs in the front. The combo socket allows both XLR connector and TRS connector. Microphones produce very low signal, that is mic level signal. They require a preamp to boost them to line level. When you connect the microphone to the input with an XLR connector, the Scarlett interface will automatically boost the level to the line level with the mic preamp. So when you connect the microphone to the input, choose line. When you connect the input to an instrument, like a guitar or a keyboard, choose inst. Instrument level sits between mic level and line level. Instrument level also requires a preamp to boost the signal up to line level. When it comes to line level, there are two different kinds. Consumer line level is -10 dBV and is the standards for things like CD players and MP3 players. Professional line level is +4 dBu and is the standard for things like mixers, preamps, or other audio processing units like EQ. We'll talk more about this later. The phantom power needs to be turned on when you're using a condenser microphone. Always read your microphone spec before plugging in a microphone. It's fine when the phantom power is turned on mistakenly with a dynamic microphone, but if a ribbon mic is used with the phantom power turned on, the phantom power might damage the ribbon mic. Connect the outputs at the back to the monitor speakers. When you record with the monitor speakers on, there will be chance of creating an audio feedback loop. Therefore, you are recommended to turn off the loudspeakers and use a monitor headphone instead when you are recording on a DAW. This problem won't happen in recording studio because the sound house where the microphone is in is separated from the control room while the loudspeakers are in. These two knobs, the monitor knob and the headphone knob, control the levels of line outputs and the headphone output respectively.